Springs Middle in Florida, Mrs. Johnson's class in Bassett, Nebraska, Abington Junior High in Pennsylvania, East Coweta High in Georgia, Dixie Heights in Kentucky. We welcome everyone to CNN Student News. First up, officials in Mexico say that the outbreak of H1N1 or swine flu is on the decline in the country. The World Health Organization has confirmed more than 800 cases worldwide, although some of that increase is based on testing medical samples that were already collected, not from new cases. Now, here in the U.S., part of the fallout from the flu is affecting you. About 250,000 students are out of class, and as Kate Baldwin explains, education officials are concerned about the impact on learning.
In anticipation of the flu season.
The Obama administration is trying to stay on top of this ever-changing flu outbreak.
We, for example, are working with the Department of Education to provide clear guidelines for school closures.
With another 100 schools closed, Washington is now doubling the recommended time affected schools and daycare centers should close their doors.
The CDC recommends you strongly consider closing school for up to 14 days.
Education Secretary Arne Duncan stressed Friday student safety is priority one. However, teachers and parents alike need to start planning now to minimize the disruption of the school year as more schools are likely to close.
Have assignments ready to keep them busy and engaged for up to a week or two, including handouts or books that students can take home so that learning continues.
The Education Department says more than 430 schools are temporarily shut down, including Rockville High School in Maryland.
The goal here is to stop or at least slow down transmission in the community.
School nurses on the front lines are on high alert, even holding hand-washing demonstrations to drive the point home.
You can see how the germs have traveled from one person to the next person.
One small victory, that message is at least starting to trickle down.
What are you doing to be careful?
I'm washing my hands 24/7.
We're also told of 5 colleges with reported or confirmed cases of H1N1. Schools like Northeastern University in Massachusetts has asked students and faculty to avoid shaking hands during this week's graduation ceremony because of it. Kate Baldwin, CNN, Washington.
Well, another fallout. Hospitals being flooded with people who are worried they have the virus. Now, if you have flu-like symptoms, certainly you should get checked out. But some people argue that concerns about this flu are being blown way out of proportion.
It's overblown, grossly so. And I just wish people would back off a little bit, stop and think for a minute and not panic people. There's too much hysteria in the country. And so far, there hasn't been that much great a danger. So the sooner we get calmer, the better I'll feel.
Time for the shout out. Whose job is it to nominate U.S. Supreme Court justices? Is it the Chief Justice, the Attorney General, the Speaker of the House, or the President? You've got 3 seconds. Go! Article 2, Section 2 of the Constitution says the President picks the Supreme Court nominee. That's your answer, and that's your shout-out.
The Senate has the power to confirm Supreme Court nominees, but picking them is one of the biggest jobs a president has, and it's one that President Obama is gearing up for right now. Jonathan Mann explains why there's about to be an open seat.
Insiders at the U.S. Supreme Court say Justice David Souter is stepping down. Souter is 69 and one of the younger and healthier members, but he famously hates Washington, D.C. and is likely to retire to his native New Hampshire within months. What does that do to the rest of the High Court? Souter is regarded as a liberal, and President Obama is likely to replace him with another liberal. So the fiercely divided Supremes will probably be turning out the same kind of tunes without any new harmony.
Okay, on to Pakistan now, where the country's military has launched an assault against a region being controlled by the Taliban. We've reported on that militant group's growing influence in Pakistan. Last week, Ivan Watson explored how the Taliban gather support from some rural Pakistanis. Today, he looks at the public outcry against the militant group in the country's cultural capital.
Another angry protest in Pakistan. But this time, the crowd is demonstrating against the Taliban.
I'm a journalist of 20 years standing.
And you're scared?
I will fight them to my last breath and to the last drop of blood in my body. I'm not scared. I want the army to protect us. That's what they're here for. I want the government to protect us. I want them to free every inch of Pakistan from the scourge of the Taliban.
It's a small rally in Lahore, one that's not very well organized.
Let's give out banners.
But these writers and intellectuals say it's about time someone stood up to the Taliban's campaign of violence and intimidation.
They're lunatics, they're psychotic, they want to change the way we exist.
And if Taliban take over, then I'll be on the road getting flogged by one of them like they did in Sawat, and I don't want that.
Lahore is the cultural capital of Pakistan, a city famous for its music, dance, poetry, and theater, art forms the Taliban has brutally repressed in areas the militants control. Though Lahore is hundreds of miles away from the Taliban's strongholds in the mountains of northwestern Pakistan, security forces here have adopted a siege mentality as militants have extended their reach. A heavily armed escort accompanies Police Chief Parvez Rator, even when he walks just outside the walls of his headquarters.
How many people have you lost?
Last year we lost 39 people in acts of terrorism, and this year we have lost 17 people by now in Lahore alone.
Just in Lahore?
Just in Lahore.
In March, militants swarmed a nearby police academy, killing 7 cadets. They've also bombed cinemas and theaters in Lahore and ambushed a visiting cricket team from Sri Lanka. The police say these attacks would not be possible without local support.
And they're here, they're in Lahore. Little groups of the Taliban just going around and intimidating people, causing fear, telling women to cover up, and if they don't, they'd shoot them.
Jamal Rahman and his cousin Aider are members of a Lahore-based band called Lal.
We want to try and get people aware and try and get them active and motivated to fight against this militancy.
On television and in concert, these politically active musicians have been trying to rally society against the growing threat of the Taliban. Is this the beginning of a mass movement of moderate Pakistanis against the Taliban? Or is it the swan song of a wealthy urban elite who could be the first to leave if the suicide bombers and insurgents succeed in further destabilizing this country? Ivan Watson, CNN, Lahore, Pakistan.
Well, if you've ever wanted to get on CNN Student News, here's how you can do it. Send us an iReport for Teacher Appreciation Week. As an added bonus, every iReport we air will get a signed picture of yours truly sent to your class. Or if you'd rather, won't get a picture. Your call. Find out how to submit your iReports at cnnstudentnews.com. And before we go, a young lady in Britain breaks into a pretty exclusive club, Mensa. The group has about 100,000 members, and you have to be pretty smart to find your way in. The only qualification, a high IQ. David Harrison introduces us to Mensa's newest member.
Well, here in an ordinary back garden on an ordinary street in Edmonton, North London, is quite an extraordinary young lady. Elise is 2 years, 4 months old and the youngest ever member of Mensa. Dad, Ed, how clever is she?
Oh, she just shocks us every day. She always comes out with something new, and she really just does boil us over every day.
And what was her first word?
Dada.
How proud are you both of Elise?
Oh, extremely. I mean, we let her do whatever she wants, whenever she wants. If she doesn't want to do something, she just doesn't do it, and we don't force her to do anything. We just love her to bits.
Let's put it to the test. Elise, can you tell me, you can count in Spanish, can't you? How do you do that?
Uno, dos, tres, cuatro, cinco, siete, ocho, nueve, yes.
And what about capital cities? How about France?
Paris.
England.
London.
America.
Washington.
I assure you that's unrehearsed.
Spain, Madrid.
And Spain, Madrid. And I should point out that Elise's parents are very keen to stress that they're not pushy parents. They want Elise to grow up as an ordinary, happy child.
An ordinary, happy, incredibly brilliant child. We're sure that's what they meant. All right, we'll see you again tomorrow for CNN Student News. I'm Carl Azus.